Today is the day I am going to pull out all of my kids' toys and reorganize them, do a little bit of decluttering. The main area where we keep toys has now kind of transformed to the basement. It used to be in the living room, and since Owen has gotten a little bit older, we've just gotten more and more toys, unfortunately, and we need to get them tidied up. I have had this large unit from Ikea since I lived in an apartment. It's moved to multiple apartments with me, and then it moved from Colorado to Nebraska, and I think it actually looks pretty good on this wall and has worked well for toy storage. So we are using 2 of the units. These are all separate units to store toys. The far left one is a little bit more narrow and not as deep, and then we're also using the next one over that's wider and deeper. The far right, we do have for kids crafts, which I'm not going to touch on today. I'll probably redo that at a later date. I have done it once before, but I think, again, as our kids get older and start actually having more craft supplies, it will need a redo. So these bins that I'm putting together right now are from Amazon. I will link them in the description box below. They're cool because they're collapsible, and then they have these arms that you can push up and they make them a lot more structured. I'm hoping it will reduce the visual clutter. I know these cabinets are closed, so it's not that big of a deal, but I want to have a few things that are in bins and kind of put away just so that when we open the doors, it's not too overwhelming for the kids to pick out what toys they want to play with, and for me as the parent to find what I'm looking for. And it just looks like an absolute mess in here because it is a mess. There is really no organization right now. So I'm still pulling out all of the toys. I want to categorize them as best I can. I did get 2 bins that are much larger than the other ones, and those I know I want to use for stuffed animals and for dress up. I might end up needing 2 more of the large size. I think some of the stuffed animals we may declutter a little bit more. All of these stuffed animals down here are hand-me-down stuffed animals from one of my great aunts and great uncles. They got a few stuffed animals when they had grandkids come over, and those kids are now grown up and don't need stuffed animals anymore. So we got all of those, and a lot of the other toys here, I will say, are Love Every toys, and they are the Love Every toys from older play kits that Henry's not quite using yet, but Owen has moved on to the next play kit. And even though he's moved on to the next play kit, he still loves using all of the Love Every toys. And today's video is not sponsored by them or anything, but I would say that if you are looking for high quality toys, the Love Every ones are the ones that stick around, that don't break. We have had to get rid of other types of toys because they break. Love Every, no toys are we getting rid of except for one, because I have looked all over this house. We have a very clean house and we don't have things that are hiding in certain places. I'm constantly going through and reorganizing every single drawer, cupboard, cabinet, under everything. We pick up our couch all the time. So there's no space that's left uncovered in our home, and there's a couple of pegs that I cannot find for this little piece that I'm holding right now. So I think I'm going to declutter 1 Love Every toy, but the rest we are going to keep. I'm actually not even going to declutter it today. I think I'm just going to put it to the side and see if I can find those pegs. If I can't, then we may have to declutter it. I also got out some of these zipper bags. These are great for puzzle storage because if the pieces fall out, then they fall out within the bag, and I am going to put those into one of the bins there. There's a lot of different ways to store puzzles, but if you're storing them just vertically, they take up a ton of shelf space, so I like being able to put them in a bin, and then within the bag the pieces stay together. So that is the new puzzle bin. And then I am just putting everything that is smaller for the most part in the left cabinet, and then bigger things I'm thinking will fit better on the right cabinet, or if there's a certain grouping, then I'm going to put more of those baskets in the right side, and I will put those things over there. There's a lot of arranging and rearranging and moving of shelves here as I'm just thinking things through. Not only am I trying to figure out where things actually fit within the spaces, fit on the shelves, but I also want to start thinking about what my kids can access. And that's twofold. Number one, I don't want them accessing things that I don't want them accessing. So there are certain toys that still have small parts to them and they're maybe not ready for. And those I don't want them to be within arm's reach of a small toddler because I don't want them grabbing those things and choking on something and I'm not there or paying attention. So those things I want to be higher up, and things down low, I want it to be things that they can grab on their own and start playing with, as long as the cabinet doors are open, of course. Owen's starting to figure out that he can stick his hand under and pull out the cabinet. He can't quite reach the handles, but if he can open up the cabinet door, then I want to have some of the toys that he likes to play with down lower. Okay, now we're kind of going through the major miscellaneous bin that I had from upstairs. I honestly think it's just labeled miscellaneous toys. So I'm trying to categorize things, see if there are certain categories. I found one category that was like play, food, and pretend stuff. There was a teacup set from Love Every, and then I have the Target shopping cart and the Target little scanner that you can see there. That all kind of falls into one category. I was also finding another category that I'm going to call like water play. Those are some beakers and things that you can practice pouring water, sink that he has. Those things all will go together in another category. And you'll see I am kind of tossing some things to the side and putting those in a declutter pile, or a pile just to maybe move upstairs or reevaluate where it goes, but I don't want it necessarily downstairs in this space. These shelves, for the most part, are pretty easy to move, but the larger part of the unit here, the shelves are so big and they have 3 pegs that go back, and the shelves are a little bit heavy, so they did take a little bit more effort to move, but it is worth it to move the shelves. I love having storage systems that have these peg holes so I can rearrange things, move it up and down, and have a really customized fit. So I would recommend this IKEA unit. A lot of people use it for closet customization if they want to do like a semi-customized built-in looking closet. A lot of people will get this IKEA. It's the PAX unit, PAX, if you want to look it up. I'm now going to finish filling up those bins that we were talking about, some of those categories with the play food and the water play. And I'm not necessarily doing a toy rotation here, but you'll see once I finish this area how a lot of things are out of sight. They are put away in bins. So it is kind of like a toy rotation just because it's trying to make it less overwhelming from a visual perspective when we open up the cabinets. But there are still a lot of toys that are accessible. It's not like any of these toys are off limits for my kids to play with. Like, I want them to be able to open up this cabinet and know that there are still toys in there that if they say, "Mommy, can I play with the water play stuff," that we can grab it and pull it down. I know sometimes when people do toy rotation systems, they put things like in a locked cabinet really far away that their kids can't even see, and they just have a few toys out at a time, which I think can be a really great strategy as well. But honestly, I don't want to have a separate closet for toys that are out of the rotation and then another closet or cabinet for toys that are in the rotation. It just seems like a lot. So I want to store all kids' toys together. And I think this system worked out really well. You'll see I added some labels to the different bins here so you can tell what everything is. The bins on the left side, the labels don't really fit as well because there isn't that handle opening. So I have to figure out if I'm going to add a label on the front of those, or just if I know that the bottom one is balls and the next one up is puzzles, and then the top ones are like backstock stuff that the kids shouldn't be using. The next place that we keep toys is here in the living room, and it's just on the right side. We do have a matching unit like this on the left side of the fireplace, but that is more like barware and stuff. So the toys are all here to the right. And then we don't really keep toys in our kids' bedrooms at this point. Maybe it might change in the future, especially once Owen drops a nap. I know sometimes people like to encourage their kids still have quiet time, even if they don't want to nap, and to encourage them to have quiet time maybe in their bedroom, they have to have a few things to entertain themselves. We do have books in there, but it may expand beyond that. At this point, all we keep is books and stuffed animals. In Henry's room, he does have a play mat, and I keep a couple of like little baby toy rattle things to keep him entertained if I'm changing his diaper or something like that, but it's not like Owen keeps cars up in his room or any other toys. This is the other main area, and I like having toys here because I want to encourage him to play in our living room. I like spending time up here because I'm always in the kitchen getting stuff done. My office is up here. So if he has all of his toys in the basement, and younger kids aren't necessarily always great at independent play, and I don't know if I always want them to be completely alone on a different floor of the house. So then I'm kind of forced to go to the basement too, and I can't really do stuff in the basement like I can in the kitchen. I can't get lunch or dinner ready when we're all in the basement. So I like having toys up here. It makes it so we're all hanging out together. I moved some of these travel bins. If you saw my Instagram, these little bins I use for on-the-go toys, I took those out and I'm going to put those elsewhere for like travel. And then I updated some labels, decluttered a couple of stuffed animals, and then I am going to show you the final after of this space as well as the pile of things that I was able to declutter. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. It didn't take too long to do. If you have kids, I would really encourage you to do the same, but until next time, I will see you all later.